How to avoid being a fat loss wet wipe in 2025.
It's quite funny trying to have a real serious conversation about the traits of a wet wipe. They're wet and moist. Doing something difficult but wanting it to be easy. So trying to get in shape, which is not an easy thing to do. It is difficult.
And this is the problem, right? The coaches, unfortunately, because it's easy to market and easy to sell, they've made a big thing of making it sound easy.
I'm not enjoying this, and I'm starting to feel obsessive. I'm like, sweet. Obsession is going to make you do this in 8 weeks instead of it being 8 months down the line and still not being where you want to obsess more.
It's one of my biggest bugbears, and it's when you are helping someone or coaching someone to try and get into shape and drop down, and then they end up messaging like, oh, just so you know, the weekend didn't go to plan. Try and sort of justify it, being like, but I don't feel guilty about it because I feel like I needed it and it's out my system. And I'm like, don't feel guilty about it, fine. But this time next week, when you're complaining that the scales are still a kilo up from the week before, that's when it's going to matter.
I think that's the thing with the wet web thing. It's like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed I didn't drop on the scales this week. Why? You don't deserve it. Like, you didn't.
What you
put in the work.
What you disappointed at yourself? Like,
8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
How to avoid being a fat loss wet wipe in 2025. This is Fish and a Rice Cake again, back as normal. I'm Jake, he's Jake, two coaches back to give you, not two coaches today, actually four coaches today, because we've got some, we don't usually get guests, but we've got some exciting guests.
We've got someone extremely small with no muscles. That's Geoff.
And we've got Ben.
And Southern.
Back to just help give some general fat loss training advice, and talk about how we sort of coach, how we build our business, and all that kind of shit, really. We just rant and waffle, really. There's nothing serious here. But, as we've said, we've got two guests, so we'll introduce you guys. We've got Geoff and we've got Ben. About 3 different cameras, so I don't know which one that's going to pick it up. But first of all, thank you for making the trip up, because it's not that far, it's not that close for you guys to come up, is it really?
Thanks for having us. It's been buzzing for it. It's like this is a weekend. This is an extension of my weekend, so no, buzzing to be here.
Whereabouts have you come from? I should actually know that.
I am right bang between Watford and St Albans in a very small village called Bricketwood.
Right.
Believe it or not, the train from Watford is literally bang on 2 hours.
I was going to say, because you can get on the fast train, can't you?
One train, one straight line. I was actually quite amazed by 2 hours. Just literally up. I was doing a bit of work. I was uploading content.
Do you know what? There's loads of people who work in London who live in Manchester, because obviously the house prices are cheaper, and it's like 2 hours on a train. So if they only have to go in the office like twice a week, you're straight in and out, mate. Yeah. What about you, Ben?
So Leicester, so train to Sheffield.
So you're only middle of the way, aren't you?
Right. Is he northern?
Leicester.
Nah.
He's probably northern to you, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Anywhere north of
So you lads have got to give Geoff a geography lesson today.
Is he at least half northern? Because I give him some. He talks funny. So
it's like Midlands, isn't it?
It's like Midlands, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like I'd class myself as northern, but when I go see half of my family live up in Newcastle,
so
they say to me, "You're not northern."
Yeah, I've got some clients who are like Geordies and stuff like that, and they call me southern. They call me like a southern fairy. I'm like, mate, I'm northern, mate. What you're on about?
Yeah, that's literally, my cousins are from Newcastle, and they say the same thing. And I'm like, no, it is not. Leeds is north. It's north. I was like, it's not north, but it's north.
It's north.
North enough.
It's north enough.
It's norther than Watford.
Yeah. Whereas for me, anything south of Nottingham's south. Like, for me,
I agree.
Once you get past Nottingham, you're southern.
I think Manchester, even Manchester, beyond Manchester, you're starting to go southern.
It gets softer and softer the lower down you go.
I think where I'm at, it's like the border, isn't it? Like, some people will class you northern, some southern. It's like I'm just in the middle.
Yeah, you don't belong to anyone.
No man's
belong to Geoff.
No man's.
You belong to Geoff.
But so you guys want to give us a bit of an introduction to yourselves, a bit of a background on you both?
Yep. How long you got? Should we keep it a 2-minute version?
We've got 42 minutes, so if you want to just give us about 41 minutes.
And then we'll fuck off. And then go get some food. So I'm obviously Geoff, as we said. So I started Team Geoff in 2019 on my own. 5 years, 6 years ago now, but 5 years, took it to a point where I was kind of getting a little bit at a point where I didn't really know where to go next. So PT before that, in-person PT before that, fully online in 2021. There was that crossover period. And then Ben came on board in last year, so 2024, first discussions, and then the full announcement. There was a lot going on behind the scenes as we'd expect. Started launching the group coaching earlier this year, which has just been big success and shred. And then since that point, it's been growing Ben's numbers and expanding the team. And I think where we're at today, there's literally, as we speak now, about 50 people within Team GF, 2 photo shoots a year, shred. I think 3 launches we're going to go with for now, so 3 shreds a year, and then of course just building our one-to-one client numbers as well. So yeah, a very condensed version there of without me waffling on.
Yeah, but basically 2 guys that know what they're on about when it comes to getting in shape. And this is what we love. Like, this is why obviously we get on with you guys, and like we love the stuff that you put out, because it is just. And this is what we're going to talk about. Like, it's just that no nonsense. There's no filter with it. It's just, if you want it to get in shape, this is what you fucking got to do.
Your launches have been absolutely fucking superb. Like, honestly, they have me in stitches every time. Like,
you think like you get to a point where like with the whole wet wipe thing with the first one, it was like, oh shit, what are we going to do for the second launch? And it was like, oh, there's no, like, we're not going to be able to use the wet wipe theme again. And then I just started like firing off.
Credits, Geoff. Somebody sent me. I said, mate, this is even better.
We kind of trumped the first one, but we're actually now nervous once again, because you're like,
how do you top it?
Yeah, like, but we'll try. Like, there's something. It'll be extreme. It will be like, I don't know, one of us will end up in jail or something.
Let's fly to Dubai to film it.
You like the wet wipe hotline and the AA meetings and stuff like that. Good. The ones that you.
I think as well, it's the effort. Like, you know, like the props. And I think I remember a few people just going, "Where did the red carpet come from?" You know, and it was just like. But when you coach a lot of clients, you kind of like. It's a network, right? So every single one of those kind of like the red carpet. I've got one of my clients, Tom. He runs a carpet firm, so it's just like you don't ask, you don't get. So it's just like, mate, random question.
Have you got a red carpet?
Red carpet. I'll pay for it. You know, when you always do, I'm not looking for a freebie. And he was like, you're not going to believe this, but one of my mates actually does this for events, and they actually throw these out afterwards. And it was like the next day, I just got a message because I used to years ago PT his wife, so they know where I live. And the next day he was like, mate, I'll be round yours in 5 minutes. If you're not home, I'll dump it on your driveway. And it was just a roll of red carpet.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it was even like the office, the wet wipe hotline. It was just like, where are we going to film this? We need like this.
I saw you in a dentist surgery at one point or something like that.
Listen, I can't give away my secret.
I was like, this is fucking class.
But this, once again, Amir. So Amir, shout to Amir. So you'll see Amir. Obviously Jacob that we all film with. Jacob will also reshare stuff for you'll see him filming.
He does the dentist. Yeah.
So Amir's I coached Amir for a while, but me and Amir go like years back, like good friends. And it was once again I was like, hello mate, need a little favour. You know, it's just like we were there 20 minutes. I was like, have you got a spare like practice room? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, can we just pop by and we'll be out? You won't hear a peep from us. And it was just that he didn't. We just sort of quietly went in this.
The thing is, when you've been filming content for as long as you have, and like obviously we're getting into it as well, like you kind of like you know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Get in, get the fuck out. Like
literally,
you don't,
literally, and like
I think Geoff and Jacob to fair are good with just like the little intangible things like the props and stuff that like just adds and makes.
Oh, it
does.
Like,
it really does. Film with Jacob, it's like
Jacob knows it. Yeah, Jacob's quality.
Jacob's
like I because at the time I don't think I'd actually spoke to you, but Dan showed me your content and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. And I was like, the edits were just unreal. So I was like, I went onto your like who you tagged in those. I was like, a guy called Jacob, bro, I'm gonna fucking message him. I was I was like, everyone asked me now, like, who do you use to do your edits and shit? I'm like, I can't tell you. He's mine.
He's a powerhouse.
He's unbelievable. Powerhouse. He's unbelievable.
And even like when we were last in Nottingham, me and him stayed in an Airbnb when I did the photo shoot because we were up the Saturday and the Sunday. And even just from not just from a skill point of view, but from like work ethic, which to me is very important. I'm sure we're going to talk about this today, but he's 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, no, fucking crazy.
We filmed all day. Me and him were first on site. No one before everyone else. We made a game plan for the day. We got back to the Airbnb at like 6 p.m. because we'd gone out for socials and dinner and stuff afterwards. I ran to the shops to get us some food, and by the time I'd come back, he'd set it all up. Like literally the lighting, the camera, everything. He'd already filmed 6 or 8 reels of himself, and he went, "Do you need to eat or anything?" I was like, "No, I can keep going." And he was like, "Let's go." And we filmed like 8 reels or something.
Yeah.
He was editing till 9 p.m, which I was done. I went to bed. He went to the gym.
Fucking hell.
He's just got that work ethic. And it was the same. I remember on the Sunday morning, 6:30 in the morning, he's sitting there in his pants editing my reels. I was like, this is mental. Like we haven't even finished filming for the weekend. And he's sending them. He's just pinging them back to me. He's just like airdropping them. He's someone else. Yeah,
so for people that maybe haven't seen like the whole sort of shred posting and like the wet wipe stuff, do you want to just give us a bit of an explanation as to what you consider a wet wipe being, what we're actually fucking talking about?
It's probably a reflection of modern day society, which is just rather soft and wet. I think it's probably fair to say. I think there was a whole culture that I know we were both taking the piss out with content, and I know you guys are on the same page as us because it's just facts of this idea of getting in shape or doing anything when it comes to coaching coaches, anything. Generally speaking, we'll try and keep it niche to fitness of doing something difficult but wanting it to be easy. So trying to get in shape, which is not an easy thing to do. It is difficult.
But this is just where social media has gone though, isn't it? And this is the problem, right? This is what we all talk about in our content. It's like the coaches, unfortunately, because it's easy to market and easy to sell, they've made a big thing of making it sound easy. So fat loss easy, eat the foods you love and get in shape and stuff. And naturally, people are going to buy into that because it sounds fucking great. Who doesn't want to do that, right?
Look at modern day society. We are in the Amazon Prime next day delivery. Everything's comfort. It's convenience. Everything's just dopamine on demand. So yeah, it's just the kind of, and we got to a point where obviously like, I think the marketing for a lot of those, a lot of coaches where it was, what we would always take the piss out of is 5 busy professionals, and it's just the same spiel: lose fat without giving up the foods you love. And I'm sitting there going, I don't do that and I've been doing this. But
also for you like in the nicest possible way, you don't want those people, right?
No.
And like neither do we, right? So this is why we're very transparent with our content. This is why we'll never go viral with our content, because ultimately we're saying the stuff that people don't want to hear, but they need to hear. So, obviously it kind of vets out the people who.
So that was literally the idea. It was kind of like, if we're gonna launch, my content's always been on the more brutal end. I've kind of always been quite blunt with the delivery when it was for one-to-one, and then with Shred, it was like, well, if we're gonna have this group program, which we know a group program is. It's great, don't get me wrong, but it's still inferior to one-to-one. What we don't want to do is then just attract like people that that is just like, we're not going to have this, lose fat without giving up. It's like, no, come sign up for this program that is going to be fucking difficult. Do some work, and in 8 weeks life's going to look very different. Because even from these coaches don't realize you market to people that don't want to work hard. Where are your transformations going to come from? And you have to.
Well, they don't have them, do they? That's the thing. They don't have them.
It's not going to build a business.
It's not going to build a business. So is that kind of thinking a little bit bigger? Like, it might be a harder sell because you're just being loud with the friction and being like, this is going to be difficult. And if you want it to be easy, go somewhere else.
I literally, I've had a client message me a couple of days ago, not a coach, and like pretty new to training and stuff. So like, it's setting up those expectations from the start. I was just checking in, like, how's your week going, mate? Everything going all right? And he's like, yeah, all right, not great. He was like, it's just the food side of things, like it's just hard, isn't it? And I was like, yep. I was like, it is hard. He was like, I just don't know. Does it get easier at any point? And I was like, your routine will get better. I was like, you'll get used to it. But see, the thing is, hard.
Is it hard? Because if we actually flip it around, and we talk about this all the time, but without turning it into some motivational waffle, like compared to what?
Well, it's not hard, is it? And it's also
losing a loved one. Like, because I sit here sometimes and I'm like, is it hard though? Because I think this ties into that whole idea that we keep saying before of like, yes, building a physique is supposed to be hard. There's a very boring, repetitive element to it. But I also sit there and I'm like, it's kind of as if you just go in with that attitude of.
But it's a chosen hard as well, right? Correct. Like nobody's holding, anyone who comes to me like, listen, no one's holding a gun to your head and telling you have to lose body fat here. You've made a decision to want to change things. So that's a pretty cool decision to be able to make anyway, right? So like you've made the choice.
It's a bit of a privilege, isn't it?
It is, and like we don't want to get too wanky here, right? But it is a little bit. It is a little bit.
It's cliche as well. Sorry.
No, Karen.
It's cliche as well, but obviously anything worth having in life is
correct.
Hard.
Right.
So you mean I think like Geoff has said before, it's kind of like dieting doesn't get any easier. You just get better at it.
Correct.
And that applies to all of these things. Do you mean with building a business, building a physique, whatever it is?
Yeah.
But the and I think that's again going back to like the where did the wet wipe thing come from? It's like like saying like when they say like crazy people don't know that they're crazy, and like maybe stupid people don't know that they're like the wet wipes know they're wet wipes, because you've got this kind of the standard of like that like eating food's hard. Is it like let's say if I actually sit here now and think about hard things I've done in my life, I personally like dieting. I'm like, at the time, like I've been hungry. I've had
there's a little bit of discomfort every now and again.
Some pretty extremes as well, where I've had like diet related insomnia, and it's 5-6% body fat, and there is genuine like serious signaling going on in the brain and no sleep happening, and I'm kind of like. Still wasn't that hard. I've done harder things than diet. So again, it's that perspective of like, I don't know, maybe they just need more hard stuff in their life. Anchor of perspective.
All right, well, let's try to get a bit more specific with it then. What would you consider, talking about like wet wipes, what would you say are some of the common wet white behaviours that you see in people when it comes to fat loss and trying to get in shape and stuff like that?
We'll go with you, Ben, first. Go on.
Yeah.
Give you the limelight.
I think, like Geoff said, it's just kind of expecting the results, but not willing to do the work. And it's kind of like, yeah, you want to be in great shape, but you're not willing to do the things that people in great shape do. So, yeah, it's that really. I think it's just a justification of we were having this conversation just before we came in there.
The word because.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, that wasn't the reason, was it? That you still chose to, it was still a choice.
Yeah.
And it's that really, I think, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, and probably as we just said as well, like the actual, like real talk. Without, obviously it's quite funny trying to have a real serious conversation about the traits of a wet one. They're wet and moist. No, but it's real, real talk. That I think that a big part of coaching that I see not a lot of coaches do. It's the do this, do that. It's like directions as opposed to changing people's everything we've just said, changing people's perspective and actually making people. We had a great chat when we were just having a coffee a minute ago. Whereas again, a question I ask people a lot of the time when there's the justification of something. Okay, cool. But how much effort did you put into the situation? Because it's straight away pinning things around and putting the onus on you to actually be like, oh, okay, not. Yeah. I had to eat this because this. I had to do this because my steps were low because of this. They are justifications, and the most important thing to be able to take from that is, but how much effort did you put in? Like how much, how are you going to improve in this situation going forward? Otherwise, it just becomes an acceptance of, oh yeah, I did a bit of a shit job. But
what drives me insane, I suppose, and I'm sure you guys get this, is those becauses are never going away, right? No. So like, they're going to be there next month, next year, in 5 years, in 10 years. So
they might get worse.
They probably will get worse if you let things get worse. So you've got to learn how to navigate those becauses. It's not to say we're expecting people to be perfect at any stage, because nobody's perfect, right? But like you can improve over time, and you can get gradually better at navigating what those becauses are
by putting more effort.
More effort.
It's like, how much effort did you put into that situation at the time? And then I think that's a powerful one. It's one I use a lot because it puts that onus on number one perspective. If someone actually goes, oh no, I put an effort of 10. Well, hang on a minute. This is a lot. That's an alarm bell then, because it's just allowing someone to be self-analytical and just be like, well, actually, I could have done more. Okay, cool. So then, therefore, I'm a firm believer that we shouldn't experience the same stress twice. So if you go through a situation and then you've learned something from it and you've understood what you can do better, then the logic is that the next time you're in that similar situation, there shouldn't be a because you did it last.
And hindsight with physique development is like a wonderful thing, isn't it? Because you can be like, you can't fail at shit. The only way to fail is just give up completely. Whereas actually we can go, well, we could have done this better, couldn't we? We could have planned better. Maybe we could have dragged ourselves out at 9 o'clock just to finish our steps. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and it is just a bit of perspective.
Yeah. I think personally, I don't know if you guys are the same. Every diet I've done, I've picked up little things. I've learned something what works for me in terms of like my routine and kind of you just get better at it. Like I said,
you just get better.
The logic is, and I don't know anyone that this doesn't apply to, is everyone's next diet or prep should be better than the last. Because you've learned from the last. You
know what to expect.
Correct. And then obviously there's a bigger picture. You hopefully would have gone through a decent reverse and got built some muscle, and so you keep going through the kind of cycles, and you just get better at a process alongside the process. It's like compound interest. Do you know what I mean? It's that showing up and repeating a process for long enough that you get better at it, and then the process it's just all feels like it becomes easier.
The first one's always the hardest, isn't it? The first big diet you do is always the absolute. Like if I think back to the first shoot prep I did, that was without doubt the hardest diet I've ever done.
I failed my first. Yeah. And this is the whole point. When I first started training 25 years ago, I remember trying to get shredded when I was like, whatever at the time, 21, and just failed. I was just like, I didn't know what calories were. I didn't know what carbs.
I was about to say we're probably a similar generation of like, it was like men's health. Like I would just eat and clean. There was none. I didn't know what a fucking calorie was.
My fitness pal didn't exist.
It wasn't a thing. Yeah.
iPhones didn't exist. So yeah, this is what I mean. We've got all these.
I remember tracking my calories on like a piece of paper, and I knew there was one, I knew there was 9 calories per 1 gram of fat and 4 for carbs of fat. So I knew that, right? So I just should write down what I'd eaten, and I would have to get my calculator at the end of the fucking day. This is how extreme it was, and figure out how many calories I consumed. And I'm like, that was a little bit more friction with that than there is scanning a fucking barcode.
Everything was black and white.
Yeah.
There were horses and carriages around. That's how old I feel now.
But yeah, it's true. Like, it does get easier every single time, and you pick up, like you were saying, little bits and sort of how to work it around for your own routine. I think that's what everyone should like. No, when we talk about this, like, we're never expecting anyone to be perfect in a diet, are we? But it's like, it is that effort thing of like, well, just do your best, be open and honest with what's going on, look at a situation as opposed to, okay, well, how could I do my best out of this situation, even if it isn't perfect, and then you use it to learn for next time, don't you?
Yeah, we've had people turn us like photo shoots in the past and not been entirely happy with how they look and feel, and we said, well, have we put the effort in to feel? Because what I'll say to people is that I don't give a shit what you look like come shoot day. What I want to know is you walk into the studio going, I've done everything that I can do.
Same.
And if you can answer that question with a yes, I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you've got abs or not, because that's irrelevant. Do you know what I'm saying?
And because I think, again, from an expectations point of view, you know, I've got clients, for example, who I've had, you know, 4-week pictures are a great one. You know, you get pictures, like early stage pictures, 4 weeks or 8 weeks comparison pictures. Oh. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you know, and on paper, you know, at 8 weeks, there's like 10 kilos gone and like 10 centimeters off the waist. I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal rate of fat loss. If we were to look at percentage of body weight per week, if we were to take this, like, on paper, this is phenomenal. That's that. If I did that myself, I would be buzzing. I would be over the moon with that. But what it is the disappointment comes from they don't look like a bodybuilder at the end of it. They don't look like a men's physique cover model at the end of it. They don't have the bikini bod that they want at the end of it. And I think that's probably a much deeper and harder side of coaching, where it's like, there's a long road ahead of you for a lot. And, you know, I've had it.
I'm sure you get this with people. It's setting expectations in it, but it's like, you've always got more fat to lose than what you think. There's always a longer period of time you have to put into this than what you realise. Yeah.
So, number 2, what is another common trait of a wet wipe?
Oh shit! Are we still on number 1?
That was we was a bit hard on number 1.
I suppose we could cover that first one as that was kind of, it was entitlement. Could we call that one entitlement?
I think expectations, like what you've just said. I think
so we've definitely merged in a couple there.
Sometimes, I suppose then it's down to like the actual things they do wrong. Do you know what I mean? So like they do
learning curve. Can we call that then? There is a huge element to that as well, because, and again,
I just in my head have got these visions of like just wet wipes walking around like.
I have to be careful. I've had a. You never want to like directly call anyone out, do you? I'll have it the one where people play down. They'll go, you know, like the ongoing joke. I've made a few reels along this. Oh, but I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We'll just put less effort in, because like that was what was actually going to happen in 12 weeks as well. You were just going to look like a bodybuilder. But I've had these conversations with people in the past where I'm like, we can learn a lot from bodybuilders, right? Whether we're like, at the end of the day, they put on muscle and they get shredded for the stage. So all we need to do here is go, well, they're kind of the best at physique development, right? So what are they doing? And then you can sit there and go, drugs, lots of drugs. No, you can sit there in these situations and just go, from a fat loss point of view, most people don't want to be stage lean. Cool. But like, part of getting stage lean involves the getting
what
lean
I say to people is, I'm like,
it's the same process. And I think sometimes that blows people's mind, because they go, well, I don't want to look like the bodybuilder, so therefore, like, oh, it's different. So I don't need to be as meticulous with all these things. It's like, but you do, and they're like, they are meticulous with every single gram and every single thing, which we take the piss out of half the time, because I'm not. I'm much more relaxed with my approach, and even clients, you know. That's my whole thing, like with the anti-bodybuilding, the anti-meal plan kind of approach. But at the same time, it's like, fat loss is just a process. How far you take it,
it's down to you.
It's down to you.
I say that to some guys, I'm listening, like, whether you want to do a shoot or step on stage or whatever, like, it's the same shit. We're all doing the same shit. It's just how long you want to do it for, how lean you want to get.
Arguably, the urgency of the shoot or the show is why people actually take it to that extreme. And without that urgency, I could give you countless examples of people I've coached for 2, 3, 4 years that didn't get as lean as they wanted until they did a photo shoot.
Yes, 100%. That's why we do them. It adds urgency. It's like clear start date, end date, gives you something to work into, gives you something to like.
Coaching point of view, whoa. Like when it was casual fat loss, fine, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient or whatever towards, okay, this went wrong and this was, whoa, hang on a minute, we're 6 weeks out from the show. Why were we doing that when we're 6 weeks out?
And it sounds wanky, the words, like, but getting locked in for something, it's quite a cool feeling, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, for a period of time, just being like, nah, fuck, like it's so much easier to say no to things. Like, your mate rings you, fancy a pint, it's like, nope. I've got a photo shoot in 6 weeks.
And like, I was lining up all my content on the train this morning. Now there's one that's now coming next week about being obsessive, because I've had that where I'm not enjoying this, and I'm starting to feel obsessive. I'm like, fucking sweet, obsess over it.
This can be
like,
point number 3.
You smash this out in this is like, obsession is going to make you do this in 8 weeks instead of it being 8 months down the line and still not being where you want to obsess more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Since when did giving more of a fuck become a negative trait?
Yeah. And you wouldn't have that in any other aspect. You wouldn't have that with your finances either, where you're like, well, I'll have a bit of an idea what's coming in and out, but I don't want to know too much because I don't want to obsess over it. It's like, no, you want to fucking know what's going on. Yeah, like it's the exact same thing. And I've had it with clients before where I've taken them to a photo shoot and then they've gone on to do a show. But in that sort of period of time, they've been like, when they've decided to do a show, they're like, okay, cool. So what's next? What do we have to do for the show after the photo shoot? What's different? And I'm literally like, nothing. We just had another 6 weeks on.
I do.
That one blows people's mind. It literally blows people's mind because I think when you've been super lean, all four of us have all been to that single digit body fat. And actually now I actually almost struggle to casually have a tidy up for summer because I basically, once I start, because I've been there before, once I know I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm about 4 or 5 weeks away from, and it's that, you just like, you get to that point where you're like, this is now weeks away. This is just keep going, just dig in because you know what's coming. I think for so many people, there's just that. And maybe this, I don't know. This definitely hasn't been like 3 clear points. Just random waffle. Is that like a misunderstanding of what happens when you're actually consistent for long enough? Like you just said, what needs to change? Nothing.
Yeah.
Do we need to drop calories? Probably not. Until, do you know what I mean? Like maybe at some point. But yeah, there's a lot. Do we need to add cardio?
Yeah.
No. Like it's just okay. Like literally, just keep going from where we're at.
And we make that point with our blitzers, don't we? Like we say to them, like what you do, the consistency you have, it compounds over the week. So the difference you see in your photos from week 1 to week 6 is going to be nothing compared to week 6 and week 12. It's not as like you'll see the same difference again.
Yeah.
It's like you'll see double the difference, if not more than
I call it the fat loss grey area, and it's the amount of times I've had this same when I'm talking to the camera. But I'm like, that first little bit you see at the beginning of the fat loss phase where you debloat and you go, oh, do you know what I mean? And then I was like, you've basically got this grey area in the middle where just nothing. It feels like nothing.
It actually feels like you're getting worse because you've depleted the glycogen, you feel flat. Correct. And you're not seeing the visual changes.
Me and my man Golan, we've got an ongoing joke because whenever either of us are in a fat loss phase, we'll just see each other in the gym and go, oh shit, you got lean overnight. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of an ongoing joke because that's how it still, to me now, feels like that. It feels like you just diet for like 10 weeks.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, but it does quite literally feel overnight. Like you just, something happens, you're like, fuck, right, here we go.
Yeah.
This is
but most people don't get there because they
give up in the grey area. They give up in the grey area, yeah.
We say that you'll get it, I'm sure, with clients as well, where they'll weigh in one morning and for whatever reason it's a kilo down and like, fucking hell, I've lost a kilo overnight. And they're like, yesterday must have been a really good day. I just need to repeat. I'm like, no, you've lost a kilo over the last week and a half. I was like, you've just not seen it. I was like, you've just not seen it because of water retention, one thing and another. And it's all just caught up with itself. And now you're seeing the benefits of it. So I'm like, remember this next week when you're freaking out because the scales haven't moved again. Remember this exactly.
Getting too high when it goes.
What goes down? The biggest bane of what we do is explaining the scales. That's got to be the I'm like that.
It is always that thing of don't worry about it. Don't worry. Have you hit your target yet? Don't worry about it.
But people do worry about it still. And it's like,
it's understandable. Like, it is because you're sort of taught to have that relationship with the scale, and that sort of relationship is ingrained in you. So unwiring that in people is really, really tough. But it is that thing of like I had a client this morning message, and she's absolutely smashing it. She dropped some weight. She's training for a marathon as well, and she's managed to diet while she was doing it. And she's on relatively low food apart from when she's got her running days. And she was like, scales have gone up 2 kilos. She was like, I'm freaking out. Do we need to pull food down a bit more? And I'm like, you're running 31 kilometers in the morning. We're not pulling your food down. I was like, you physiologically cannot have gained 2 kilos of body fat overnight. Like, I know it's hard. Don't worry about it. I was like, by this time next week, it's gone. I was like, and it's happened before and it'll happen again. I was like, it's just what it does.
The heavier you are, the worse. The more, when my photo shoot that I did back in May, if I pulled up my graph on the health app, geez, I think I bottomed out like when it was fully depleted. I saw it once, literally only once, but it was I saw like 96s, which is where I thought I'd bottomed out, and I saw a random 94. And after one of the carb ups, I saw 100 kilos. So, and I'm talking in the space of like, that was within the space of 10 days or something. There was a 94 and 100, like full as fuck. The look was unreal. It was absolutely.
That's what I mean. You look better there. Do you know what I mean?
So much better.
Miles better.
I always the middle grounds because when I peak myself, I'm always looking for the look, and then I do it when I peak other people as well. Even for photo shoot, I'll kind of go, where do we bottom out? Where do we after we filled up? And then normally there's the little dip off, and I'm like, cool, that's just where we want to land.
That's the sweet spot. Yeah, exactly. So that was like to clients is like you're chasing a look, not a scale weight, like. No, unless you're walking around telling people how much you fucking weigh, which is weird if you do. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Like, people are going to look at you and go, oh, you look well. But you're looking like you're doing something like that's what you're after,
But
you know.
I think, and you're right, because again, I'm sure we all face the same challenge, but like the reverse is very difficult to coach people through because they think that, for example, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, their lowest that they saw in a prep, oh, we're going to reverse and that's the wet. No, like the second carbs go up, the second food goes up, like a couple of kilos is naturally going to go back on. Oh, does that mean we've put body fat on? No, it's just you could just be looking for like fluids, glycogen.
I had a client this week who she had a bit of a wobble on Saturday, right? And then she checked in, she was like 4 kilos up on the Sunday or whatever. And I was like, listen, like she told me what she ate. I was like, let's just break this down. You'd have to eat 30,000 plus calories in that day to actually consume 4 kilograms of body fat. Even then, your body's not going to absorb all that. Thermic effect of food's going to go up. It's be damn near impossible. And if you did, I'd just be impressed at this stage. Like, don't stress. Don't worry about it.
Even Geoff is true at least 10,000 calories.
And I was trying to spin a positive. I'm like, right, now you're full of glycogen. Go fucking smash the shit out of the gym for the fucking next few days. You're going to feel great.
Pumps ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Post high day, like the phase after the diet.
Oh,
and for most people it's like the most difficult phase because they think that it's like progress going backwards, and it's like, oh, the training is glorious, like
you're super like susceptible to gaining tissue there. Like
you do it by this time round after this photo shoot. I don't know if you remember, I can't even remember what it was, end of last year, beginning of this year, I basically put on Instagram, I was like, I can't be asked to get jacked anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm done.
Yeah.
I was completed it. Yeah, I was like, done. I just couldn't be asked. I'm just done, bored of it. But I basically, after this reverse, or I still wanted to, reverse up to maintenance. And I was sitting with like the waist measurement, obviously slightly up from just more food in the GI. I was like 6-7 kilos up, and the visuals were just bang on.
Yeah.
And it was just, the measurements up, everything up. And I'm like, I've just.
But the thing is, you get yourself lean enough that when you're absorbing those nutrients, your body's going to put them in the right areas, right? I
was barely trying.
Whereas a lot of people, I think, they don't get lean enough. So unfortunately, that reverse doesn't quite look as. So you got to get fucking lean.
And then there's the reverse. It can go either way, can't it? It can go.
Yes.
It can go wrong.
It can go easily wrong.
I've done it wrong.
I've done it wrong. We've spoken about it before. Yeah.
We've had clients. I know. So you've done it in the past, but we've had clients who have gained like 6, 7, 8 kilos in a few days afterwards. Yeah. We had them after. I know I've spoken about it on the podcast before. I had a client do a shoot before, and he looked fucking incredible at the shoot. Like he's this big guy. I think he was 91 kilos lean at the shoot. Like fantastic shape. Like couldn't have got any leaner. And then after the shoot, obviously we had the night out where we all go for burgers and we go for a few drinks and stuff, and we had some donuts at the shoot. And he was asking like, oh, how much can I go have? And I was like, well, we've got these things planned. So if you want a couple of snacks around it, by all means crack on, but don't go mental. I was like, he had 2 donuts at the shoot. He went straight and got, he went out for a pizza straight away, got ice cream afterwards. He then came and met all of us and got burger and fries, and then went on the night out and had a full night of drinking, then went to a takeaway in the early hours of the morning, came home. He was literally about 8 kilos up the next morning. And he was just messaging me like freaking out about it. And I was like, well, I'm not surprised, first and foremost. You've earned that, so well done.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah. But I was like, I did warn you. I mean, he literally about 6 kilos off. It came off within about 3 days.
Yeah.
I was like, it is just glycogen, water, salt, all that kind of stuff. But and
when you get that lean, because I know who you're talking about, it was lean. Like it's gonna go to the right places.
But then I think sometimes it can, when you're that lean as well, like 5 kilos of water can make you.
It's a head fuck.
I had it last year when I did a photo shoot. I don't like doing this, but I did a photo shoot and then got on a plane like 2 days later.
So fucking
to Italy of all places as well, where I just lived off salt basically and honestly, there was like I was putting some of it on Instagram because obviously I don't care and it's funny, but it was like like when I was one day post photo shoot or the day of the photo shoot, and then it was like, but 4 days later looking 6 months out of it. It was just horrific, like just absolute, like my face was puffy, watery. It's just like it can really change that look.
Yeah.
If you're not experienced with it can get in your head. For sure.
Yeah. So sorry.
No.
I was gonna say, just to throw out like a third and final sort of wet wipe trait, and I guess we've kind of already touched on it, but it is just that common thing you hear all the time of saying that they want to keep balance in there and they want to have that balance.
Yeah, and that's probably from a marketing angle with Shred. That was one that we went in, like even the Wet Wipe Awards, where you were graciously accepting your awards. But it was that. It was every. Can you remember your three? But it was those. It was the try to give up foods. Try to diet with, and because I kept every time we'd go, I can't remember what it was now already, but I tried to give up. Try to lose fat without giving up the foods I love, and it was the blunt. I'd go, "How did that go?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I didn't lose anything." And that was why because it was like
they were brilliant.
Like, why are you trying to I don't understand. To me, like a compromise, and maybe balance is one of those things. Is like there's nothing wrong with balance once you've achieved. I think
you've got to earn it, haven't you?
Yeah, and
this is the problem, right? I think again, social media, but it's everyone thinks that they can have the cake and eat it, right? Like they can have the balance whilst getting the results, and it's like no, because people see me having a beer, we're going to have a beer, and it's like how do you do that and stay in shape? I'm like, because I've fucking done this shit for a long time, and I know my body, and I've done the diets, and I've done the builds.
When I posted, it wasn't the last. I did them so frequently. When I did one in Dubai, when I did the 10,000 calories. Funny enough, in photo shoot prep, which proves the point. And the reason why I did this, I try always everything is content, right?
Of course.
Everything is content. I was like, I normally, this is just me. This is a personal
business
preference.
expense of 10,000 calories,
and I do this with clients as well. I sort of try and get like 2/3, 3/4 of a way, of a job done. So if it was a 12-week prep, it's like, well, let's get to the 8-week mark, and if we can, we'll have like a bit of a refeed because most people are going to be kind of due it anyway. So that was the way I approached this fat loss phase. I got 8 weeks in, and I was like, well, I'm flat, I'm depleted, let's refeed. So I would have had a big for me, a refeed over 2 days probably would have been like 5,000 calories on the Saturday. Like, it would have been 5,000 calories a day anyway. So I was kind of like, well, let's just turn it into content and do it all in one day, basically. So that was the 10,000 calories. But I made 2 reels, and one was me stuffing my face, and the second was how I did it, right? So like here's how I ate 10,000 calories in a day and still lost fat. And the reel of me just stuffing my face going, he's got loads of views and loads of and loads of attention and loads of comments and some, then when it hits the algorithm of people going, you're gonna die or something, all right, what from that one, you're gonna get diabetes. Okay. But then the one actually explaining the science was like, oh no.
No one cares about that.
No one cares.
But people will see bodybuilders, when you see having their cheat meal and they see like 2 pizzas and this and that and 10,000 calorie days, and they go, oh, how that? I want to do that. But they're already lean and jacked, and it's pretty easy.
That famous one, like the Rock's cheat day. You always get that with people dieting, where like, well, when's cheat day? When's my cheat meal? Like I used to see the Rocker doing, and I'm like, yeah, but look at the fucking Rock.
He's been doing this a long
time.
Yeah.
He can have a cheat day. He's fine. I was like, you've been doing this 3 weeks. Keep going.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to like what Jake just said. Like it's what you do most of the time, not every now and then. And like they'll see the guy shred around the pool and like, oh, he's having pizza, he's having beer. Yeah, but what has he done to get there?
He's probably spent 12 weeks dieting, right, in order to achieve the meticulously. So everyone sees what they want to see, right? Like, so it's just that they feed their own narrative with that, like, oh, they can do it, so why can't I?
And I think it's one of my biggest bugbears, and you guys will definitely have all had this. It's when you are helping someone or coaching someone to try and get into shape and drop down, and they're sort of saying, yeah, I really want to get into good shape and I want to see my house for the first time, whatever. And then they end up messaging like, oh, just so you know, the weekend didn't go to plan. I ended up having a bit of a meal out on Saturday, and I was pissed off with myself Sunday, so I had to fry up in the morning. And then they try and almost, like you said, they try and sort of justify it being like, but I don't feel guilty about it, or I don't feel bad about it because I feel like I needed it and it's out my system. And I'm like, all right, you don't feel guilty about it, fine. But this time next week, when you're complaining that the scales are still a kilo up from the week before and you feel like shit, I was like, that's when it's going to matter.
I think that's the thing with the web thing. It's like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed I didn't drop on the scales this week. Why? You don't deserve it. Like you didn't. What you didn't put in the work.
What you disappointed at yourself? Like it's that kind of. But again, it's this idea that you deserve treats or deserve. It's like, so again, I've done it with content. I'm like, are you a dog? Do you know what I mean?
I put one of my stories. You're not a dog.
Week, so I'm gonna have I'm gonna reward myself. What? Like, do you do this with
the reward is getting the result you wanted, like the stronger, leaner physique, not the burger. Right?
Well, probably circle back to like the start of this whole conversation. It's the expectation of something just being easy. Do you know what I mean? This idea of like, well, I've dieted for 6 days. Why am I not like?
Why am I not?
Do you think it's partly down to the fact of you see so much of it on social media now? It looks like at least half of the population are able to do it.
Desensitized.
Whereas actually it's like, no, that's like 1% of people that are able to do it.
And I always say use the better, like I use this. I say this to clients all the time. I'm like, when you go on holiday and you're in a hotel by the pool, how many bodybuilders? How many people are there with their abs out? Because even some of my clients get to a pre-holiday diet or something, and well, I'm still not done. I'm like, you're still going to be the best shaped person at the beach that day.
One of my clients is actually on holiday, and he messaged me the other day, and he literally said the same thing. He was like, he's in decent shape. Like, we've got him into decent nick, but he's not like, he's in his first fat loss phase, whatever. And he's just messaged basically saying, I can't believe how fat everyone is. Like,
it's the awareness kind of changes.
But he's like, he clearly, again, like he uses Instagram as his metric at home. And I'm like, wait till you get away. You're gonna stand out. And he's like, I really do. Do you
Yep.
know what I mean? Like I look great, and it's like
It is perspective.
Of course
It
it
is
is.
honestly like we take the kids swimming and stuff, and honestly,
it's
there's
frightening,
times
man.
like there's times where
And I
like,
try to be not judgmental because I
No,
really don't mean to be. I don't mean it that way, and I'm
not
like,
in a horrible
I'm
way.
like, I almost want to go and shake everyone. I'm like, fucking wake up, man. Like,
Well, if they're happy, they're happy. They don't have
Yes,
to
yeah, of
change. It's on
course.
them. But it is when that they're saying they want to change, and then it's not. they're
But
not
even
doing the
what I mean,
behaviours that they need.
I'm even just talking from a like from a percentages point of view. Go right now to a public swimming pool with 200 dads with their kids and find me the abs. There might be one or two max. Probably
I think maximum, mate.
Yeah.
Max.
And if you ask them how they did it, they're not going to say, "Well, actually, I have pretty good balance." To be fair,
Just eat the foods I love.
you've just missed me having a pizza.
So
Actually,
there is this just warped perception of like, and again, I'm sure you guys are now seeing tons of this. I know you guys are with, it's coaching coaches. It's the same thing with becoming an online coach with this expectation.
This is wild.
This is the hardest I've ever worked in my life. There is no doubt about it.
Actually, because we do have a lot of coaches who listen to this, so we'll just have a very quick few minute segment on that. So talk us through
we're coming for you, coaches.
No, but it's relevant, right? Because again, we obviously have a lot of coaches that we coach now to help them grow the business, and a lot of them are in the early stages, so like 5, 10, 15 clients or whatever, building up. How you guys know how tough it is, but just talk me through, I suppose, your week. Tell us what your week looks like, Geoff.
My week is, and this is so at the moment I do 30 just over check-ins on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'm up at 4, half 4.
So that's 90 check-ins.
Yeah, just within there is actually, I'm trying to get them all to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's actually another top up later in the week as well at the moment. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, well, every day of the week up at 4, half 4. Never wake up to an alarm because the brain is just too busy. Half the time I'm awake. If I wake up for a piss in the night, that's me done, because I'm not kidding. I sort of subconsciously, I'm like, just go for a wee, go back to bed, and whilst I'm weeing, so I've been awake 20 seconds, I'm in check-in mode. I'm in I'm thinking about someone's. It's very switched on all the time. Thankfully, I do manage to sleep well before that, so I tend to get like 5-6 hours of like real good deep sleep. So by that point, I kind of like, if I toss and turn for any more than about 45 minutes, I get up and I start working. So I'll be productive with the time there. So go for a walk, get some steps in, simply because if I don't, they won't get done. Because from that point, check-ins just take over the day. Those 3 days are like 8 to 10 hours of check-ins, so they're long days, which I then basically log off, go get my training done. We're talking now like 3-4 p.m. just because I want to get that bit done. Like, I don't want to go to the gym at 6-7 and miss family time, basically. So then I get home and I consider that like the second part of the shift. It's a much easier part of the workday, which is just responding to everyone's then responded from the morning's check-ins, any messaging to catch up on, and generally speaking, the days, they're like, I think you guys structure your week is the same. It just, my Mondays go 4:30 in the morning to 6-7 p.m. like that.
And then you've got content on top of
that. So then Thursdays and Fridays are sort of lighter days where there's a bit of a check-in top up, there's calls, admin, setups, that sort of thing, and it just depends. Very ad hoc. So content days, and if they're not a content day, they seem to come around very quick. I do all my filming once a month, so I do block book with me and Jacob, just do literally 15-20 reels, like pretty much for the whole month in one go. And then if it's like a content day, but do you know what I mean, not a filming one, well, it's scripting. So I try and then just script and ideas. I tend to sort of brainstorm, then start to script. Sometimes I don't script at all. I just kind of have enough of a brainstorm, and I know it's going to be enough of a rant to kind of.
Well, I think when you've done it enough times, you just know how to word it. You know what you're going to say, don't you? So your scripting becomes less important.
So Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I would class as intense. It's the better way of putting it. I'm definitely pretty frazzled at the end of a Wednesday, and then Thursdays,
brain's
Fridays,
like mush, innit?
Yeah. But Thursdays and Fridays just depend. So like, if I'm building something, if we're launching something, and there's like, then they can be just as stressful and just as long. I've actually had like 12-14 hour Thursdays, which there's me saying the week backs off, just because it's not check-ins. And then at the same time, sometimes they're the days that I'll come and fit in stuff like this.
Have a bit more fun. And that's
my wife knows, she kind of, whenever we travel, she always, if she's booking flights, she just books on a Thursday because she just knows that, or a Friday, because she just knows that they're easier days for me to kind of navigate. So yeah, the weeks, what's the word? They just flash by. They are intense. They are.
Well, do you?
What about you, Ben? Because you're in the building phase.
So mine's not quite as structured, and
that's where I was a few years ago. In the pain zone.
Me and Geoff have been having this conversation this week. Just getting more militant, like Geoff, my time management. So I still do some in-person PT, about 25 hours or so.
Okay, so that's a good old chunk of that.
Yes, not, I guess, a bit more than a small amount. One-to-one, obviously the shred that we're running 3 times a year. So those check-ins are on a Sunday. So at the minute, it's kind of just this week we be looking to get a day off.
He doesn't want to word it like this. He has no days off.
Yeah, it's basically what he's saying.
He doesn't want to say it in front of me. What he's actually saying is, I fucking hate my life right now, and I'm working every minute of it. Yeah. Your work weeks, it's very scattered, which doesn't help, does it?
Yeah. So,
but it's that awkward transition phase, isn't it, of sort of bringing down your PT over time, I imagine, to then build up your
online. That was one of the most stressed I've ever been when I did it.
Because you just burn candles.
Doing two jobs, basically doing two jobs.
But no, it's just we just wanted to highlight the work that has to go into this shit, right? Because I think some coaches again think that it's post a few bits of content.
Me and Geoff were just saying this outside. Like, I think PT's way easier.
Way easier. Way fucking easier. Way easier.
When I, do you know what? Now, when I actually, if I were to just rewind 7-8 years and look back at when I was one-to-one PTing, right now it feels like part time.
Yeah.
When I was doing, at my busiest was doing about 30 a week, but when I was doing 20, 25 a week, that's part-time.
Yeah.
That is not even, that wouldn't even be half the hours that I'm working now.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when the hours are scattered, it makes it, you'll know this, it makes it feel like, because you'll be like, well, actually, technically, I did start work at 5 this morning and finish at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
But you also had some
few hours in the day and shit. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, looking back, it feels like, I remember it feeling like part-time.
Yeah.
And an easier life, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely, online coaching is way more stress than what people realize, and you've got to wear a lot of hats, right? You've got to be the marketer, you're the fucking content creator, you're the coach, agony and everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We were just saying now, you somewhat lose the ability as well. And this is probably, we won't have time to get too deep with this, but even today coming up to Manchester, I'm in the train station and I'm like, there's that little part of me sometimes that's just like, just fucking enjoy it, Dave. Just get on the train and and then I'm like, oh, let's put a poll in the stories for where am I going, Manchester? And then even when we got off the train, I'm saying hello to him and oh, let's get a picture now, we're in Manchester. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's a little element of you're constantly in this content mode. And even when, on holiday and stuff with the family, I'm subconsciously getting pictures of the family, but I'm also thinking, oh, that would make a good post if I and I'm like,
but this is
I don't fucked. Do you know what I mean?
I'm exactly the same, but I also think that is when you become self-employed and you want this to be your actual business. Unfortunately, that I think it's par for the course, man.
100% agree, and I'm not. And this is the whole thing. As much as I can sit here and if you zoom out, can actually be like, yeah, it's kind of you're sharing every element of your life, but it's your job. This is what you're trying to create a brand that's going to attract people that are like-minded, that the people that you want, your vibe attracts you.
But that is your brand, isn't it? Like I know loads about you because you share it.
Right.
You might know shit about me because I share it. And it's. I was chatting to a coach yesterday. I was like, I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
And you post fitness content, but who the fuck are you? And unfortunately, that's not enough anymore. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
So
listen, guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, where can people find you? Just real quick, if they want to.
Instagram's the best place. Geoff_Foden PT.
Ben Huggins Coaching.
Coaching.
I've still got my PT. I just can't. Do you know what it is? There's too many F's because of the. It would be like if I got it. I remember it's underscores don't really look great, but otherwise it would just be like Geoff Foden. There's too many F's, and then I'm like online coaching. It starts to. Just leave it.
We'll drop the links for the Instagrams in the description below, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, lads.
Thanks for having us.
We'll go train.
Go train and have a burger.
Sounds good.
Balance in it.
Calf day.
Calf day. Every day is calf day. See you in a bit.
Bye.